Hey there. Today I'm going to tell you about a story about projectors, my process as a projector, and it will be helpful for you if you are a projector or somebody who loves a projector and you're trying to work them out and help them to be a better projector. And this story is specifically about what it looks like and feels like when you have been recognized and invited to be able to guide and continue to guide somebody, and what it feels like when that happens successfully. So I'm going to be talking about projector type, strategy, the signature of the projector. So if you know at least a little bit about being a projector, and these are things that you want to better understand, like what is a real life example of recognition? What does it look like? What does it sound like? This is the story for you. So I live in Brisbane and I like running, and there are a few running groups that I go to from time to time. And there is one running group that I don't go to that often because it's a bit further away and I don't know that many people by name, but the location's beautiful. So my partner and I go when we want to go. And there was one time a couple of months ago where I had finished my run and there were only a couple of other people who had finished. And these couple of women were having a conversation, and the one who was trying to solve a problem, when I walked across to just where they were, she looked squarely at me and included me. I'm a projector, so she's included me, looked straight at me and deliberately included me in the conversation. And I can see really clearly what a problem is. And immediately I have a sense of like how I could guide her, what suggestion I could make. Now, I'm not attached to people taking my guidance, taking my advice. But if I have a sense that maybe the person might be open, I test without attachment. And so I made a suggestion and she was like, oh, wow, that's brilliant. Oh, I get it. Okay, I think I can work with that, right? She's happy. We had a good interaction. She thanks me when I leave 10, 15, 20 minutes later, whatever. And I don't really think too much of it. We go on holidays, we go away. Eventually, a couple of months later, my partner and I decide, oh yeah, we might really want to go to that running group again. And lo and behold, after we finish running, I'm sitting on the ground stretching with one lady, and this woman comes over and I was like, oh, I remember her. And she immediately recognizes me and says, oh, you were that life coach who gave me that great advice about such and such. I changed this entire thing based on what you said. Notice, she took my advice, and not only was she grateful for it, she then took action. She changed things. She's like, oh, it was great. And, you know, I'm not looking to jump in and give her more advice. That would be very not selfish of the projector. I was like, oh, that's great. Awesome. So I feel this sense of like, oh, I guided somebody and it went well. Great. That's what Ra talks about when he talks about success as the signature. It's like we've successfully guided someone as a projector and it feels good. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. I guided somebody. It was successful. They were grateful. I feel good in my body. The end. Now, the story continues. As we were sitting in a circle on the ground, stretching, all hot and sweaty, I hear her talking about the next thing that's happening for her at work. And I can see that she's very upset by what has happened at work. And I'm just listening to what's happening. And at some point, as I hear her talk about it, and she's talking to the whole group, but in between, she's like looking at me. And that's a good indication as a projector. If somebody is open to your ideas, they will be looking at you. Yeah. They might not look at you to the exclusion of everyone else, but they include you in the group. Very important. They see you, right? They want to make sure that as they talk, that you hear them. And as she was talking about this problem, my intuition immediately said, allies. She needs to find her allies. I was like, okay. Now I've been working with my intuition really strongly for about 25 years. So I can tell when something is really clean and really, it doesn't even have to make sense to me, Carolyn. It just has to, I don't even need to know where it comes from. I can just tell the frequency of what I've been given. And so at some point when it seemed appropriate in the flow of the conversation, I said to her, I think you need to find your allies. I didn't turn it into a whole essay, a whole massive lesson. I just dropped something to see what would happen. She was like, oh, and immediately it was the same kind of reaction of like, oh, that's really good. And so very quickly, you know, maybe within the next 5 or 10 minutes, we probably wrapped up the conversation. It's time for my partner and I to go and do other things. She was like, oh, that's great. You can come back next time, right? She's valuing and she's inviting. Come back. I want more of your guidance, right? She seems really happy and really grateful. Yeah. And I'm not attached to her doing anything with it, but she probably will, right? Now, this is an example of what guidance looks like outside of a business context. Obviously, when I'm guiding my clients or my students in a business context, the way they're valuing me is not just by being grateful and by applying what they learn from me, they're also paying me money. But if you're a projector, your entire life is about, you are here all the time to be able to guide the right people for you, the people that you are here to guide. And that's going to happen in the supermarket, at a running club, at a Pilates class, at a horse show. I don't know, right? It's going to happen in any number of situations. It's going to happen with some family members. It's going to happen with some friends. Yeah. So your job as a projector is to really notice who are the people who recognize and value and see me and are grateful and invite me. And they're the ones you guide. And you might guide them in a paid context, or you might guide them while you're sitting on the grass, stretching while you're all hot and sweaty. Because your life as a projector is really about guiding the people who you are here to guide. Hope that was helpful. Bye for now.